How's it going, my bakers? Hope you're doing great. In today's video, I got something really special for you. Perhaps the greatest breakfast I've ever had, so let's go to the kitchen and check it out. I recently spent a few weeks in southwest India, and usually when traveling my breakfast consists of local fruits, because you can't get such quality in the UK. Fruit is always best at the source. But riding my scooter one morning I saw this raggedy little shop. It had loads of customers, and there was this man and his wife selling these buns. They were served with dal, a lentil curry, for breakfast. From that day, I kept coming back. These are called Mangalore Buns, or banana buns. They are sweet little deep-fried breads, made with banana, yogurt, and cumin seeds. Served with the dal, they make the perfect breakfast. It is so delicious and hearty, it'll keep you going for hours. And they are super easy to make, there's no fermentation. And the lentil curry is very simple too. You could make this even if you've never made Indian food before. So let's check out what we'll need for this recipe. For the dough, we'll need some white bread flour, bananas. Ideally you want overripe bananas. We'll need some salt, baking powder, yogurt, sugar, and some cumin seeds. Very simple ingredients, but they work really well together. We'll also need some oil for frying. I'm going to use sunflower oil, but you can use vegetable oil or any oil you like. Now the dal is a little bit more complex, but it's not too bad. We got some onion, garlic, ginger, chilies, some ghee, aka clarified butter, you can use oil instead, some salt, ground coriander, garam masala, ground turmeric. We'll use some creamed coconut to finish, lentils, tomatoes, chickpeas, some fresh lime or lemon to serve, and some fresh coriander. Don't worry about all the spices too much. You can just use a pre-made curry powder. It's not meant to be very pungent, this curry. It is light and goes with many different flavors. Now as for the equipment, we'll need a bowl, scales, a dough scraper, and a fork to mash the bananas with. We'll need a pot for deep frying, ideally a deep pot, and something to fish the buns out with. A slotted spoon does a good job at it. Okay, so let's start by making the dough. The best part about this is that you make it in the evening and you leave it in the fridge overnight, and then make the buns the next day, and that just makes things a lot more convenient. So in a bowl, combine the bananas, sugar, salt, baking powder, cumin seeds, and yogurt. So everything except the flour. Now grab a fork and mash everything up well. You could also use a fine potato masher or some other tool. The aim of this is to get the mix nice and smooth. It doesn't have to be perfect though, so don't worry too much. Once you have mixed everything up well, add the flour. Then grab your scraper and mix it to a dough. The other good thing about this bread is that we don't have to knead it. Just mix it first with the scraper until everything's nice and combined, and then continue by hand and just work it in the bowl. It will stick to your hands, there's no way around it, but just keep squishing it and mixing it around for around 2 to 3 minutes. You want it to be kind of smooth. Between the liquid in the bananas and the yogurt, this makes the dough about 70% hydration, and those same ingredients along with the sugar make it nice and sticky too. This is what it should look like after a couple of minutes of mixing. It has become more cohesive and kind of stretchy, but if yours hasn't, we'll just mix it for longer. Now this bowl is pretty messy, so we'll grab a fresh bowl and transfer this dough to it. You always want to wet your hands with water when handling sticky dough like this. Release it from the bowl, pick it up, shape it up into a ball, and then place it in the new container. And that's all the work we need to do in the evening. It took no more than 5 minutes in total. Now this next step is not totally necessary, and it would work best with some nice flavored like coconut oil, where you can pour a couple of drops of oil on the dough, and then spread it all over the surface. This will just make it a little bit richer down the line. But if you have coconut oil, then use it. It will add an amazing flavor. Okay, so we can cover this up and leave it in the fridge overnight. When you make the lentil curry is up to you, but you can also make it a day ahead of time, then just reheat it in the morning. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Grab a pot, add the ghee or some oil, bring it over to the stove, leave it on medium heat. Once it's nice and hot, add the onions, the garlic, the ginger, and the chilies. Give it a good mix and then leave it to cook for around 10 minutes, stirring it occasionally. Once the ingredients become nice and brown, continue on with adding the spices and the salt. When it comes to the spices, don't worry about it too much. Use your favorite spices. I'm just making this up as I go along. I don't think dal has to be something specific. This kind of dish goes well with many different flavors. It can be as plain or as complex as you would like it to be. Okay, so after adding the spices and giving everything a good mix, I've continued with the tomatoes, the lentils, and the chickpeas. By the way, dal just means split lentils or split pulses, so that's kind of like the main focus of the dish. You want to bring this up to a simmer, turn the heat down low, adjust the consistency with some water if need be, and then leave it to cook for around 30 minutes, or until the lentils are nice and soft. Yours may take longer, or they may take less time. As you can see, my mix was getting a little bit stiff, so I'm adding more water to it. And you could just add more tomatoes if you like. You can use fresh chopped tomatoes, tin chopped tomatoes, tomato juice, or passata. Once the lentils are fully cooked, add the cream coconut to finish. I like to add this at the end, because sometimes it may split if you add it too early. And that's it. That's how you make a super simple dal. It can be as runny or as stiff as you like. Sometimes people make it really watery, and that's totally up to your taste. Now this can be left to cool down and then refrigerated. And now we'll fast forward to the next morning. We can grab the dough out of the fridge and make the buns. It's become a little bit grey, and that's because the banana is oxidizing. Don't worry, it's totally normal. We'll divide this dough into 8 equal pieces. If you want it bigger, you can divide them into 6. By the way, between the curry and the buns, this would feed 2 very hungry people. But you could even stretch it to 3 portions. For me, when I have something nice like this, I just like to eat until I can't no more. After dividing, you want to shape these random dough pieces into nice round balls. Use the palms of your hands for this. They will be a little bit sticky, but that's normal. They don't have to be perfect either. So if yours are not totally round, don't worry about it. This is not the final shaping step yet. Now we can do the final shaping. I like to grab a ball of flour and dip the dough ball in it to cover the whole surface. It just makes it really easy to handle. Now using your hands, just flatten them out. The thickness of them will affect how they rise as they fry. The thinner the patty, the more open the inside will be. It will puff up more. A thicker patty will be more doughy. I don't think there's a right or wrong, it's up to you how you like them. If you want them to be nice and loose and airy, make them thinner. If you want them to be more chewy and hearty, make them thicker. Also, this is just the first flattening stage. After I've flattened all of them, I'll flatten them one more time before I drop them in the oil. So if you think yours came out too thick, then you can adjust them just before frying. Speaking of frying, we are ready to head over to the stove. Preheat your oil, 160 to 170 degrees Celsius perfect, and that is 320 to 340 Fahrenheit. You should first fry just one bun and see if you like the texture. If you don't, then you can adjust the rest. They will take around 2 minutes. There is one thing you want to do, that is continuously splash them with hot oil. This will make them cook evenly and puff up in color a lot better. Of course, it goes without saying that you should be extremely careful when splashing hot oil around like this. Use the deepest pot that you have. And don't let anyone distract you, like pets or kids. This is quite a dangerous activity. Okay, once your buns are ready, you can drain them on a rack or on some kitchen paper. And while they may not look like much, they are amazingly delicious. I could have these for breakfast every single day. And it's exactly what I did when I was there in India. I couldn't get enough of this goodness. And I hope you give it a go and try it out for yourself. And let us know down in the comments if you do. So what do you think this recipe? Have you ever tried something like this before? Do you like Indian food? Let me know down in the comments. If you want to see more videos like this one, click right here. Subscribe to the channel, click over here. But that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.